Hello students, did you all do your work? I had asked you all to sum up all the entire chapter and all the changes that have taken place, evolution. So today we will talk from 10,000 years ago, what changes took place and how did it shape humans. This was the homework I had told you all to chart out the developments between 10,000 and 4,500 BCE in early human life. So, have you all been able to do that? All right. So, for several million years, humans lived by hunting wild animals and gathering wild plants. Then, between 10,000 and 4,500 years ago, people in different parts of the world learned to domesticate certain plants and animals. What happened is they started domesticating some plants and animals. This led to the development of farming and pastoralism as a way of life. They learned that we could have pastures and we can farm. The shift from hunting to farming was a major turning point in human history. Why do you think it would have been a major turning point at that time? Yes, because with the introduction of agriculture, more people began to stay in one place for even longer spans of time they had done before. Because if they have sown something, they have to wait till the crops grows out so that they can eat that food. Thus, permanent houses began to be built of mud bricks, and even stone. There are some, these became one of the earliest villages known to archaeologists. Farming and pastoralism led to the introduction of many other changes, such as making of pots to store grains and other produce. Also, to cook food, they needed pots. So they started building all these tools. They started making more. It became more. They started making many pots, and these pots were used to store grains and also to cook food. New kinds of stone tools came into use. Now we already saw so many tools were already made. We already read about them right now in the last class. But more new tools came into use. Now they learned how to use metals also, such as copper and tin. Other new tools were wooden plow, which were used in agriculture. And soon people became familiar with metals such as copper and tin. Then 5,000 years ago, the most important invention the human made was wheel. The wheel important both for pot making and transportation came into use. Larger concentrations of people began to live in cities. And also because of the wheel, larger people started to travel to far, far distant places. So with this, we come to the end of today's chapter. I will just like to list out the things again. So for several million years ago, humans lived by hunting wild animals and gathering wild plants. Then between 10,000 to 4,000 years ago, people in different parts of the world started learning how to domesticate plants and animals. This led to development of farming and pastoralism of life. And finally, they shifted from foraging to farming, which became a major turning point in human history. Last ice came to an end around 13,000 years ago, and with that, warmer and better conditions prevailed, result of which became favorable for the growth of grasses such as wild berry and barley and wheat. At the same time, open forests and grasslands expanded because now the ice had gone, grasslands and forests started to expand. The population of certain animal species such as wild sheep, goat, cattle, pig, and donkey increased. What we find is that human societies began to gradually prefer areas that had abundance of wild grasses and animals. So they were not living in trees, they wanted to live near areas that had lots of wild grasses and animals. Relatively large and permanent communities occupied such areas for most part of the year. With some areas being clearly preferred, a pressure may have built up to increase the food supply. Now, lots of people started living in just one area. So we needed more food in that area. This may have triggered the process of domestication of certain plants and animals. It is likely that a combination of factors, which included climatic change, population pressure, greater reliance on and the knowledge of few species of plants such as wheat, barley, rice, and millet, and animals such as sheep, goat, cattle, donkey, and pig played a role in the transformation. One such area where farming and pastoralism began around 10,000 years ago was the Fertile Crescent, extending the Mediterranean coast to the Zagros Mountains in Iran. With the introduction of agriculture, more people began to stay in one place for even longer periods of time than they had done before. Permanent houses began to be built out of mud bricks, and even stones. These became some of the earliest villages known to the archaeologists. Farming and pastoralism led to the introduction of many other changes, such as making of pot, in which they started to store grain and other produce. They also used these pots for cooking food. New kinds of stone tools came into use. Other new tools, such as plows, were used in agriculture. Gradually, people became familiar with metals, such as copper and tin. The wheel became important both for pot making and transportation came into use. About 5,000 years ago, even larger concentrations of people began to live together in cities. Why did this happen? What are the differences between cities and other settlements? And many more answers will come to us when we explore the second theme of this, the second chapter. Okay, so now we are going to stop here and we will now discuss the question answers that you all will be doing for the next class. These are the questions that you all have to do. If you all have your textbooks, you will find these questions at the back. If you don't have your textbook, I hope you all have downloaded an ebook from the internet. It is very much available. The NCERT History Class 11 textbook. You will get a PDF version. Okay. So look at the diagram showing the positive feedback mechanism on page 13 of your textbook. Can you list the inputs that went into tool making? What were the processes that were strengthened by tool making? We have discussed both of this when I was explaining the chapter, so I don't think it should be a very difficult answer for you all. You will look at the diagram, you will draw the diagram in your notebooks, and then you will explain what were the inputs that went into tool making, which inputs served, which were the changes, or what inputs went into strengthening tool making, and then you will write what were the processes that were strengthened because of tool making. So one is what led to tool making, all the inputs, and second part of the question is because of tool making, what processes were strengthened. So you will look into these two things. Okay. Next question. Humans and mammals such as monkeys and apes have certain similarity in behavior and anatomy. This indicates that humans possibly evolved from the ape. List the resemblances in two columns. You will make two columns, and the heading of column A will be behavior, heading of column B will be anatomy, and you are going to list all the similarities that you find between these two. Below it, if you find any differences that are noteworthy, you will mention them in a paragraph form. So all the similarities you see between a human and an ape, behavior-wise. So what kind of similarities can you think of that a human and an ape share in common with their behaviors? And which similarity is similar between a human and an ape in terms of anatomy? You will make one column of this, one entire table of this, and below it, I have told you all to write in paragraph form, but if you all find it easier to write in columns form, it's absolutely fine. You will write about the difference between human behavior and ape behavior, human anatomy and ape anatomy. Yes? Okay. Next question. Discuss the argument advanced in favor of regional continuity model and of human origin. Do you think it provides a convincing explanation of the archaeological evidence? Give reasons for your answer. You are going to talk about regional continuity model here. If you remember, we spoke about it, that that human origin is not one, it's in different region, multi-region origin of humans, and why archaeologists feel, one set of scholars feel this is the correct origin of humans, that we were born in, we all had origins in different parts of the world. Why is it so? So you have to give your reasons for your answer. Do you think it provides a convincing explanation of the archaeological evidence? So you can write something like the regional continuity model states what. Then you can go on to saying that the remains of the mixed modern and archaic skull types found across the globe suggest that the evolution of mankind took place simultaneously in different parts of the world. And why? What do you believe? However, I do believe the evidence justifies the origin. Or you can go and say, I do not believe the evidence of regional continuity model justifies the origin of humans. Whatever is your belief, both will be considered depending on the reason you provide. Question number 4. Which of the following do you think is best documented in the archaeological records? You have to look at the archaeological records provided in the chapter, and you have to tell which of the following, that is gathering, tool making, or use of fire, was most appropriately documented. Most appropriately documented. So whatever is your thinking or reasoning is absolutely fine. I am not going to I'm not going to guide you on what you should think. Most of these questions, like you can see, I want you all to analyze your thinking and note it down. Discuss the extent to which, okay. Now these are short essay questions. So I want you all to write these down also. So you all have 6 question answers to be solved in your notebook. You all will do very neat diagrams. Okay. Discuss the extent to which A, hunting, and B, constructing shelters would have been facilitated by the use of language. Okay. And what other modes of communication could have been used for these activities? What do you mean by the word facilitated? Anybody? Facilitated? Okay, I'll tell you what it means. Facilitated basically means making it easy. So you all have to suggest how had the how would communication make hunting or constructing shelters easier? Discuss the extent to which hunting and constructing shelters would have become easier by the use of language, and which other modes of communication could have been used for these activities. So you have to say, you have to imagine, you have to give me your report or your thinking, what you all think it could have happened, the extent to which hunting and constructing shelters could have been facilitated by the use of language. You have to jot it down in two parts. One is hunting, second is construction shelters. And you will also mention which other language mode of communication could have been used for such activities if they were not using language at that time. Which other modes of communication they could have used for, hunting and for constructing shelter. Question 6. Choose any two developments from each timeline. There are two timelines at the top of your chapter. Yes? So choose any two developments, each from timeline 1 and 2 at the end of, okay, so this question is at the end of your chapter. I'm sorry. This is not a question on the top of your chapter. On the top of the chapter, at the beginning of your chapter, the timeline that is there, that activity is absolutely different. You're going to choose two activities, each from timeline 1, 2 activities, and 2 from timeline 2. Okay, and these two timelines are given at the end of your chapter, and you are going to explain that you're going to end of the chapter and indicate why you think these were significant. So the most significant two developments from timeline 1 and the most significant two developments from timeline 2. And you have to mention why these two are the most significant according to you in that particular timeline. Yes? Okay. With this, we will end the first chapter over here. I hope you all have understood it very, very well. I hope there is no confusion anymore. You all can go back and hear previous videos again when you all want to answer your questions. Most of the answers are given in your textbooks. You all will have to find it out. Work like historians. You all will have to find the answer. You have to reconstruct it, group them together, and you will have to find a timeline or a chronological order in which it happened. Okay, I hope you all had been doing all the questions here. There are 4 questions that you have to answer in brief and 2 questions that have to be answered in an essay form. So with this, we finish our first chapter. We will continue with the second chapter tomorrow, that is city life and developments in writing. Till then, stay home and stay safe. Thank you.